Hi, I'm Paul Fricker. Today we're going to look at how to create an investigator for Call of Cthulhu.
If you're new to Call of Cthulhu, you might want to start with the quick start rules. These are free as a PDF from Chaosium, and I've made 5 videos about how to play using these rules. Check out the YouTube channel for details. The first thing you should know is a player character in Call of Cthulhu is called an investigator. I'm going to use the traditional tried and tested version of rolling 3d6 to create characteristics and just see where that leads me. Pick up your 3 6-sided dice, which from now on I'll probably refer to as 3d6, and roll them. Add up the 3 numbers, multiply it by 5, and enter the result into strength. Then repeat that 4 more times for constitution, dexterity, appearance, and power. Next, roll 2d6, add 6 to the result, and multiply it by 5. Write this in as your size. Then repeat that for your intelligence and your education. Then you're going to roll for your luck. Roll 3d6, multiply the result by 5, and enter it on your luck track. Then take a look at the age chart. I've decided my investigator is going to be in his 20s. He needs to make 1 roll to see if his education improves. To make an education check, roll percentage dice. That's 2 10-sided dice, 1 for the tens and 1 for the units. If the result is higher than your present education score, your education is going to rise. Roll 1d10 and add that number to your present education score. So there are 3 values for each characteristic: the full value, the half value, and the 5th value. If in any doubt, round down. Take a look at page 33 in the Keeper Rulebook. You'll see Table 1, Damage Bonus, and Build. Add up your strength and size, that's using the full values, and compare them on the chart. Read across to the right for your damage bonus and build, and enter them on your character sheet. You're going to need some hit points. Add up your constitution and size, divide by 10, rounding down if necessary, and enter it on your hit point track and your maximum hit points. To figure your movement score, you compare your size, how big you are, with your dexterity, how quick you are, and your strength, how much muscle power you've got. If your size is higher than both your dexterity and your strength, you're quite slow. You've got a movement rate of 7. If your dexterity and your strength are each higher than your size, then you're strong and you're quick. Your movement rate is 9. If neither of those apply, then you're kind of average. You've got a movement rate of 8. That's step 1 complete. We've got some numbers on the sheet. Now we're going to start to put some flesh on those bones with step number 2, choosing an occupation. You'll find a selection of sample occupations on page 40 and 41 of the Keeper Rulebook, or a whole myriad of them in the Investigator Handbook. Take a look at your characteristics that you've just rolled. What do they say to you? My guy's he's big, he's pretty healthy, but fairly average other than that. Pretty clumsy as well. I'm looking through the sample occupations. I'm thinking I'm going to pick antiquarian. Step 3, decide skills and allocate skill points. You're going to get 2 sets of skill points. The first are occupational skill points. Refer to the occupation chart to tell you how to generate the occupational skill points. In the case of an antiquarian, it's education times 4. That gives me 268 skill points to share out among the 8 skills detailed under antiquarian, and the 9th one that everybody has to put points into, credit rating. Let's go. I've got 268 points to spend. Let's put 40 into appraise. And then it lists art stroke craft. I'm going to pick fine art and put 30 points in. You'll notice as I do this, I add the base value in brackets to the number of points I'm putting in. So I've now got 35 in fine art. I need to increase my credit rating from where it starts at 0 so that it falls somewhere within that bracket that's detailed on the occupation. So I'm going to go for the lower end at 30 points. Next, I'm going to put 40 points into history, 20 into library use, and other language. Let's see now. Let's go with Latin. That's always good. There's loads of old books in Latin. 30 points into that. 1 into personal skill. I get to choose which one. I'm going to go for charm. 40 points into charm, 20 into spot hidden. Now that leaves me 18 points. Let's give this guy some, fighting capability and put in 18 for handgun. The second tranche of skill points come from personal interests, and that's always rooted on intelligence times 2. In my case, 110. I'm going to keep it simple and share out the 110. So I'm going to put 20 in stealth, 20 in drive, 20 in dodge, 20 in locksmith, might come in handy, and also 30 in occult. Step 4, create a backstory. The first backstory heading is personal description. Up to this point, I've been talking about this investigator as a man. Actually, I'm going to make it a woman. Physical description, her size stat is really large. So I'm going to say she's large and ungainly because she's got low dexterity as well. So she's kind of big and clumsy. I'm just going to brighten it up a little bit and say she likes colourful hats. I don't know where that goes, but hey. You'll see starting on page 43, there are some charts. You take up 1d10 and roll it, and it gives you some inspiration for what your kind of background elements might be. You don't have to stick to the rolled result. If it's something that really conflicts with your picture of your character, then, throw it out and pick a different one. That's fine. This is just to get your mental cogs going. So for ideology and beliefs, I rolled an 8. Politics. I see the first example is conservative. You know what? I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say she's conservative and she's a strong believer in prohibition. For significant people, I rolled a 3. That's a sibling, a brother, a stepsister. Okay, I'm going to go with a sister. I'm going to throw in some sibling rivalry here. So she's got a sister named Agatha, and Agatha has married into money and done really well for herself. Meaningful locations, I roll a 1. Okay, your seat of learning. Let's see. I've given her fine art. I think maybe she's a painter. Rather than a seat of learning, let's go with that she teaches in a local night school, and that's going to be her meaningful location. Okay, treasured possessions, I roll a 4. A memento of a departed person. Okay, let's say that her mother has passed away and there was some piece of jewellery that was supposed to go to her sister, but my character's taken that for her own. So let's say it's a tiara. On to page 45 for traits. Okay, I rolled a 7. A ladies' man stroke seductress. I don't really see this woman as a seductress, but I figure maybe she knows how to turn on the charm with men, and maybe she makes bad choices, but, she can draw them in. Last off, pick one of those as a key background connection. It could be any one of the things you've just written down, any one of those backstory elements. Now, I'm going to pick the significant person, the sister. There's some rivalry with her, but she's very important in her life. A key background connection is something that later on in the game, you might be able to get sanity points back from. And also, it's an element of the game that is less likely to be removed during play. More of that later. Let's turn back to the front sheet now and put a few details. So a name, Amelia Foster. Player name, that's me, Paul. Occupation, antiquarian. Age, well, we said somewhere in the 20s, so I'm going to go 27. Sex, I've got female. Residence, I'm going to go for England. I know I talked about prohibition, but I'm going to go for England as I'm English and put her in Tunbridge Wells. And birthplace, I don't know, let's say Oxford. Step 5. Equip the investigator. Compare your credit rating on the living standards chart on page 46. This gives you a rule of thumb on what kind of things you can expect to afford. Then check your credit rating against the chart on page 47 to determine your cash and assets. I'll go into how cash and assets work in a later show, but for now I'm just going to jot down the numbers, and if I recall correctly, there was about a 5-to-1 conversion ratio between pounds and dollars. I'm going to say her main assets are her tiara and her car, because I gave her a good driving skill. Under gear and possessions, I'm just going to list a sketchbook, a notepad, and she's an antiquarian. Let's give her a magnifying glass. There you go. There's the front sheet and the back sheet all laid out. I've added a picture that I found online, and I've put in some of the half and fifth values for the skills. Under weapons, I've listed her skill with unarmed combat and also her dodge skill in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, Amelia is ready to play. If you've got questions, go to the YouTube comments and leave them. I'll try to answer them in future shows. If you enjoyed this video, I'm intending to go through the whole rulebook and make plenty more. Go down and subscribe to the Good Friends of Jackson Elias podcast YouTube channel to find more.
BlasphemousTomes.com